I've created a lot of great content in my time in internet marketing, if I do say so myself. And now that you're an Always Be Shipping member, I know that you're doing the same thing. And one of the things that makes a blog less than ideal, the blog format I mean, is that all that wonderful stuff that you've written in the past isn't necessarily visible to your new site users. And yeah, you could put up a best of section in the links in the sidebar, or hope that your readers crawl through your archives and see all that great stuff that you've written in the past. But the truth is that a lot of people are going to miss that wonderful, compelling, and helpful content that you've created a while back. So in this video, I'm going to show you some methods for making use of that timeless and useful content that you've created in the past, but that your newer users might have missed. So you can take past blog posts and use them to introduce people to your mailing list. I do that at michellemcpherson.com. If you subscribe using the form that you can see on the left here, you'll get an email from me, and it reads something like this. It's titled, "The 3 Most Discussed Posts. What do you think?" And what it says is, hey, new subscriber, there have been some great posts and discussion in the comments of these posts that I wanted to give you a heads up on. You want to read these resources and add your thoughts in the comments. And then I list out 3 posts that I think are good quality posts that people should take a look at and that are kind of representative of the stuff that I put out on the site. And so there's a link for each one of those. And then, of course, there's also a short description of what each one of those posts is about, so that they know when they go to that what it's going to be about. If I just gave them the title, they might not know and they might not click through. And then after I go through that for each of those links, I say I'll keep you updated as more posts are published, so that they anticipate that they will be getting more emails from me as more posts come out. So using this, I'm able to take older blog posts that aren't necessarily getting attention recently and let new subscribers know about them. Now, another way that I could take those older posts and bring attention to them is, rather than sending people a welcome email that lists out the posts and hopes that people visit them, like you saw what I just put up, I could take the words from each of those blog posts and include them in an email. So when somebody subscribed to my list as a new person, they could first get a thank you kind of email that welcomes them to the list. And then on their second day as a subscriber, they could get the full text of one of those posts in the actual email, and I would just copy and paste it from the blog post into my autoresponder program, whatever that might be. And they would be able to then read the blog post directly in their email, as opposed to getting a link to it and having to go visit the site. Then the following day, that would be day 3 in the sequence, they could get the full text of the second blog post that you'd like to bring attention to, and so on and so forth. And that's something that obviously you can implement with your own past content that you'd like to get attention to. Now, this is a great way of kind of introducing and welcoming people to the kinds of topics that you cover, and also to your unique perspective in the marketplace, without requiring them to do anything like click a link and go to the post. And, you know, I mean, most people can be a bit lazy, or they think, oh, I'll get to it later. But by including the full text in the email, you're really removing just about any barriers to entry and making it super duper easy for your subscribers to get that email and then immediately consume the article, read the article. Now, if you're interested in getting feedback and comments on those posts, still include the full text in that email, but at the bottom, you can add a line that says something like, what are your thoughts? Tell me what you think. Go here and leave a comment. And then put a link to where that blog post lives, and then they can go there and then they can comment on it. Now, not all of your old posts are necessarily going to be relevant today. Of course, things do get out of date. So it makes sense to update your older content from time to time. You might find that those great articles that you published in the past just need an edit or two so that they're still relevant. So here's a post that I wrote in May of 2009, and this is one of the favorite posts that I've ever put out there, because I feel like it's really, really good at explaining to people why social media might not be working for them, and instead the appropriate way to go about working with social media. It's a really good post, and it's one of my favorites. So let's say that I wanted to repurpose this so that it was current, relevant, and republished today. So I'm going to find it and go to the edit button, and then I'm going to reread the post and see if there's anything in here that's kind of really out of date, since it's been quite a while, over 2 years since this post was originally published. So I'm just kind of scanning it right now. And to be honest, I wrote this as evergreen content as much as possible. So I'm not seeing anything in particular so far that is super out of date. If I did, obviously I would fix those things. No. This is all still relevant. Okay, so this post is actually fine, but if it weren't, obviously I would go and I would make the changes to make it current for today. But it is current for today as it is. You know what it is kind of missing though is a visual, and we've talked about that. We need visuals. So let's find a photo on Flickr that will fit in with the theme of this post, and I call it 3 Pillars of Social Media Marketing. So perhaps I could find a photo on Flickr with pillars. I want safe search on. I'm looking only for photos and Creative Commons commercial license. So we'll search for a photo of pillars. We could put that in the post, and it'll make it more visually exciting when we do republish it. So here's my results. Those are some interesting looking pillars. That's kind of cool. And then I've got some old school ones to pick from. Oh, that's just super classic. So I'm going to go with this one. We want to view all sizes, and then we can download the photo to our desktop. Now back in my edit post screen, I'm going to choose the media icon and choose that image and upload it. I'll link to nothing, and we do not want the full size. That would be much too big, so let's put in the medium. That's fine, and we will insert it into the post in the center. So there it is. And then the other thing that you can do is, if it's a post like this, and there's, well, you should do this with any posts that you are updating, so cancel that. What you should do is edit the date so that the date is more recent, because now that you've updated the post, and now that it's more recent and relevant and completely on point for where your marketplace is right now, you want to change it to today's date. So I'm going to change mine to 2011, and then I would click OK. And then I could preview the changes, make sure that everything looks all right. Oh, and I'm using WordPress Super Cache, so it's not showing me those preview changes. But I could update the post, and then it would obviously go live on my site. Or if I wasn't using WordPress Super Cache, we would be able to see those changes. But that's how you want to take an older piece of content and go through, do the edits, make sure that it's still completely up to date, add a picture or two if you weren't doing that back in the day, and then change the date to today's date, and you've got a brand new post. And the truth is that most of the people who've been to your site have not seen your older content. As much as we'd like to think that what we do is super fascinating and that people come to our site and crawl through our archives incessantly, the fact is that they don't, or a very few people do. Those are those Uber fans, and thank goodness for them, but most people don't. And so by doing this, you'll be showing those regular fans, just normal site visitors, some of the great stuff that you've had in the past, making sure that it's up to date for them now, and giving them the opportunity to see that updated content. You can also turn your blog posts into an ebook. Now, the old school way of doing this, and this is actually the more flexible way as well, but it would be to copy and paste the text of the posts that you want to be in the ebook and paste them into a word processing file. And I did that with the Sheena Was a Man post in an earlier video. And then you could easily export that file into a PDF and make it available for people to download. And you could use that PDF as an incentive to join your list or some other sort of freebie giveaway. So here I am in Pages. Here's the Sheena Was a Man post in a book format. And if I were creating an ebook, obviously of my best posts, I would need to have more than one post in there. But for the purposes of this example, we'll leave it as is. Now we go up to File, we go to Export, and we can choose the format that we would like to export it to. Now, if this is to create an ebook, a PDF, then we'd want to choose PDF, obviously. This is something else to consider if you are taking these blog posts and creating any kind of ebook with them, even if it's a PDF download. Go back to the Module 4 Kindle repurposing video, because if you're going to make an ebook for a free download or whatever the case may be that you're giving away on your blog, you've already gone through all of the time to compile all of these posts together and create what amounts to a book on your niche. And you might as well put that in the Kindle store or the iBook store as well. So go back and watch those videos too. But for right now, we're doing a PDF. We're going to click Next. We are going to save it to our desktop. And there it is. It's exported. It's on my desktop. I can then upload it to my site or include it in an autoresponder sequence, include the download link in an autoresponder sequence, and be able to offer this to subscribers as an incentive. Now, the other option, other than this PDF creation via Pages or whatever other word processing document you're using, and this doesn't have as much flexibility because I could put in a really cool title here. I could do really cool formatting here if I wanted to with this Pages thing. But something that's a little bit more automated and that's kind of cool is to take your blog posts and use a WordPress plugin to turn them into an ebook automatically. So here I am. I'm in my WordPress dashboard. I've installed the plugin called Anthologize. Now this plugin is currently in beta. But I've had some good results from it, and it's pretty easy to use. So let's take a look at how it works. It's listed here in your sidebar. You want to create a new project, and you're going to give it a name. So I'll call this Best of Michelle McPherson. Subtitle: Social Media, SEO, and Internet Marketing. And an author name would be me in this case. Oh, I wrote my name twice. And then we save the project. Okay. Now once you've got your project created and saved, you go to Manage Parts, and you need to create a new part. So click New Part and call it whatever you'd like. Now this is kind of like a chapter. And you may or may not have use for this. If you're really just creating an anthology of some of your best posts, then having a bunch of different chapters, you could separate them by topics or by categories. So that might be something, a way that you could organize it, or you could just have one big part that has all of your best stuff in it. And that's what I'm going to do. And we will, that's still me. We'll save the changes. And now we're going to be using a drag and drop interface to add posts to this part of the project. So let's find the posts that I want to add. The Sheena Was a Man post, always a favorite of mine. You guys have seen lots of that one. Let's see what else. Too busy shipping to care, that's another good post, so I'll stick that in. Unicorn Bones, that's another good one that I love, love, love. And as you can see, you can rearrange them in here as well. How to do more high yield internet marketing activities, that's a good post. And then once you've chosen all of the posts that you want and you've created the different parts, if you do want to use different parts, you go ahead and click Export Project. And you'll fill out your information, and I want to keep my copyright on this stuff. Copyright holder is still me. first edition, no extra authors, and then you just go ahead and click next. From there, you get to pick if you want to have a dedication or acknowledgments. I don't in this case. And then you can pick the format that you want to export it to. Now, there's PDF, of course. There's HTML if you want to put it as a web page somewhere. And there is EPUB, which is the format that you use to get into the iBookstore. So go back to that video in Module 4 about formatting or repurposing content for iPhones and iPads, because you could take that EPUB file and put it directly into Lulu to get it into the iTunes bookstore, exactly as it exports from the Anthologize plugin. So that's super handy and super easy for you to do. But we'll choose PDF for this, and then you just go ahead and click next. Now we get a couple more options. What size do we want the pages to be? What is our base font size? Which font do we want to use? We'll choose the defaults, and we want to, the shortcodes, it says WordPress shortcodes can sometimes cause problems with output formats. If shortcode content shows up incorrectly in your output, then go ahead and disable it. So I'm going to disable it preemptively. It depends on how many of those kinds of shortcodes you use when you create your blog post. So you might want to enable the shortcodes, export it, and then see how it looks when you're done. See whether it works or not. And if it doesn't, then go ahead and disable it. And then at that point, you're ready to go, and all you do is hit export. So with all these methods, I don't want you to let your previously written content die. The fact is that once you take the time to write something, most of your site visitors aren't going to see it, either because they didn't know about you and your site when you first wrote it, or because they were busy that day and they just never got to it. So you're doing your readers a service by taking your old content, by making sure that it still stands true today, and then either republishing it or repurposing it so that your users have another chance to check it out. And of course, when they see what a wealth of amazing material you've created in the past, you'll only be more of a market leader in their eyes.